If you want to perform heart surgery, you go to a top medical school. If you want to design a microchip, you study engineering. We naturally assume that managing money works exactly the same way, that the highest education, IQ, and network guarantee the best results. Take Richard Fuscone. He was educated at Harvard and the University of Chicago, became a top executive at Merrill Lynch, and made so much money he retired in his 40s to a 20,000 square foot mansion. Then there's Glace Groner. She was orphaned at age 12, worked her career as a secretary, never married, and lived her entire life in a humble one-bedroom house. By the end of their lives, their financial situations were separated by a massive chasm. In 2010, Grace passed away and left a quietly accumulated $7 million fortune to charity. That same year, Richard stood before a judge and declared personal bankruptcy. This is one of the few professional fields on Earth where personal discipline can consistently overcome a lack of formal education. In finance, your long-term behavior matters far more than your technical knowledge. Highly intelligent people routinely fail with money because they treat wealth as a single skill. In reality, there are two completely different financial games being played, each requiring an opposing mindset. The first game is making money. Success here requires a personality fueled by relentless optimism. You have to be willing to take calculated risks and push boundaries to acquire capital. The second game is keeping money. This requires the opposite: paranoia, intense frugality, and the humility to accept that your past success was likely influenced by a bit of luck. The most famous stock market trader of the 1920s, Jesse Livermore, is the ultimate proof of how difficult it is to switch between these two modes. During the devastating crash of October 1929, Livermore made a stroke of absolute genius. He successfully shorted the market. While the rest of Wall Street watched their savings evaporate, Livermore walked away making the modern equivalent of $3 billion in a single week. But 4 years later, that triumph ended. Incapable of turning off the extreme, risk-taking personality that made him rich, Livermore kept placing massive, leveraged bets. He eventually lost his entire fortune and went completely bankrupt. Mastering the aggressive art of acquiring capital is useless if you lack the defensive psychological mechanisms required to survive over the long haul. There is a biological ego trap that prevents most people from ever playing that second game successfully. It comes down to the confusion between being rich and being wealthy. Being rich is tied to current income. It is highly visible. People use their paychecks to buy large homes and expensive clothes, specifically to signal their success to others. Think about someone driving a brand new Ferrari. They buy the luxury car under the illusion that people will admire them. But the reality of human nature is that observers only ever admire the car. They imagine themselves in the driver's seat, often ignoring the person actually driving it. Being wealthy is completely invisible. Wealth is the money intentionally left unspent. It's the luxury cars not purchased, and the investment portfolios quietly left alone to grow. Spending your cash to look successful to strangers is a biological instinct, but it is a trap that leaves you with less actual wealth. The world's most successful investors prioritize endurance. They build their fortunes by consistently avoiding the kinds of catastrophic mistakes that lead to a total wipeout. Take Warren Buffett. We study his stock-picking ability, but his real advantage is sheer, unadulterated survival. This chart maps Warren Buffett's net worth. Out of his massive $84 billion fortune, over $81 billion was accumulated after his 65th birthday. That vertical explosion is compounding. To reach that point, an investor must survive decades of market chaos without interruption. Building this compounding wealth serves a specific purpose. It isn't for purchasing luxury goods. It's for buying absolute autonomy and total control over how you spend your time. Financial success requires a barbelled personality. You must be relentlessly optimistic about the long-term future, while remaining fiercely, frugally paranoid about surviving the present.